The following marketing information and discussion is provided for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as professional guidance or consultancy. You should find an agency for that. Comexis is a digital marketing agency, so feel free to hire us. But otherwise, just enjoy the show.
Hello everyone, welcome to The Buyer's Journey by Comexis, a discussion-based podcast on the ever-changing marketing landscape that affects how your customers and clients purchase, ultimately optimizing your marketing efforts. I'm Matthew McGroarty, the social media content producer here at Comexis.
I am Len Ward, the managing partner of Comexis.
I'm Josh Lyons, the digital marketing coordinator here at Comexis.
Today we are talking about the retention phase of the buyer's journey. And in particular, we're going to be talking about subscription-based services and how they tie into the retention phase. So for those of you who have not listened to our prior episodes or just need a quick refresher, the retention phase of the buyer's journey is when you are trying to take a customer that you already have and get them to come back at some point in the future to purchase from you again. So that could be, if it's, let's in our example we used in our first couple episodes, it was a vacuum. You're hoping that if somebody needs a hand vacuum or somebody needs a vacuum replacement, they will come back to you, buy a new vacuum. But subscription services are basically constant monthly or every couple months retention services that you constantly are paying for. So Len, why don't you talk a little bit about how subscription Len, can you talk a little bit about how subscription services sort of tie into the retention phase of the buyers?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few things you can do from like a subscription-based theory. Like you have to think of something like Netflix, which charges like $11 a month. That's like a classic subscription type platform. But for this, podcast, we'll talk about retail. There's things like Dollar Shave Club, there's things like Blue Apron, there's a box I actually belong to, which was Par 4, basically what it is, like Blue Apron will package together some food, they'll send it out to you based upon your criteria. For the one I used, which was which was Par 4, they kind of package a bunch of golf stuff that they kind of think you would like, because you have to kind of fill out exactly the type of stuff you like. It's like, are you more casual? Are you more wild? What do you like on the golf course? And they send you golf spikes, golf shirts, jackets. It's a great thing to have on a monthly basis because, you may historically just push off on going to get new clothes or something like that. But it's good to know once a month you have like something waiting for you where it's like, okay, well, it kind of adds to the wardrobe. Sometimes it can be a little overwhelming. Sometimes it can be, kind of a little cost prohibitive. Stuff can get a little high. But there's a value in these subscription-based services. It is something that is growing. And how they work, if you don't know, a lot of times is you have to pay to be in these boxes. You have to go to these companies. None of these companies making money on your subscription, but they're also making money on, say, Callaway, who wants to be in this box. Because their goal is, Callaway is, okay, I want to put these new, socks in the box. And they want you to kind of look at it and say, hey, this is something that we want, your client base to see. Their goal is that you go back to Callaway.com or you're looking for these Callaway socks and that you're going to purchase them. So it's basically like an advertisement. So they spend money to be in there. But there is validity because, if you go look at something like Dollar Shave Club, that's sold for $1 billion, I think, to Gillette. So something's there. And it's not $1, by the way. It's only like $9 to $10. So, whatever you're doing that.
I wish it was $1.
Yeah, exactly.
How nice it would be.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's kind of it on a subscription thing. So it does fit into the retention stage. There are quite a few things they do. They put some gimmies in there. They actually follow you around on social media, retargeting ads, which is great. So a lot of these subscription-based people are not only are they great with the awareness stage, the consideration stage, the purchase stage, but the majority of their money is absolutely put into the retention stage because that is where they're making their money. Reoccurring revenue is the absolute king for these types of businesses, so that's where all their ad dollars are.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that great description, Len. Josh, you have a nice little article for us on a little clothing subscription service from Foot Locker.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So this article is from Sarah Perez on TechCrunch, and basically it talks about how Foot Locker is branching into their own type of subscription-based service that they're calling Rockets of Awesome. And basically, this is their own version of Stitch Fix for kids. Stitch Fix was another one of those subscription services where, like Len said, you get the clothing, they send you stuff every month, you get to try it on, you get to keep it or you get to send it back, whatever it is, but it's their version for kids. Now, Foot Locker has decided basically to invest a $12.5 million minority investment into Launch Kids, which essentially is what Rockets of Awesome is. So their partnership basically allows Rockets of Awesome to sell what they want to put on their Foot Locker website on kidsfootlocker.com, but then it also allows, with the subscription-based service, that they can send out these individual little packages for kids to try on and for them to sort of enjoy, which is nice because at least when I was a kid, I remember when I was playing in like my sports and I was going out with friends, a lot of the shopping I did was like with my mom or my dad, going to the mall, finding out whatever, and sort of being, they were a little picky with what I was wearing. So I think it's interesting because it sort of allows Foot Locker to let kids express a little bit of what they're doing in terms of what they're wearing, the cool things they're doing on top of that. So that's besides the fact. So basically, it's sending you personalized selection of children's apparel and seasonal boxes, and just like any other subscription service, they'll ship it right to your home for your convenience. Now, the interesting part about this is the price. So each box includes pieces priced at around $16 to $38, which is actually slightly higher than the rival Kid Box price points. Now, the cool thing, at least to me, is that Kid Box has a whole box of half a dozen pieces of clothes that cost for less than about $100, but Rockets of Awesome also has that whole box deal for $150. So curious to what you both think about the idea of them jumping into this service, but also having the prices slightly increased than their competitors.
So I'll start off. I think if I had to take a guess as to why things are more expensive, it's because Foot Locker has some amount of brand recognition in comparison to whomever Kid Box is selling their things.
Says it all in itself.
I'm personally not familiar with them, right? So that's just my base assumption, not to mention I don't know how much each piece of individual clothing they're sending out is, right? What I think is really interesting about this kind of service, both this particular one, but also other clothing-based subscription services, is it's basically marketed towards saving you time from having to go to a mall or just some local retailer, right? So I think it's just an interesting way to save some parents some time. I don't know if it's necessarily going to save them money, but that's my 2 cents on it. Len, what do you think?
No, it's definitely going to save, me having 3 kids and I have an 8-year-old boy who's rough and tumble. This is the kind of thing that would this would save time and money. This is something I think parents will absolutely invest in. So how you market something like this is, from a buyer's journey perspective, this is something that would live on Facebook. This is something that would live on Instagram. This is where you're targeting moms 25 to mid 40s about this type of box, and you're letting them know, that it comes once a month, a quick video. And once they see it, they engage with it. Then once they get to the website, because it's one of those quick how it works. It's funny because I went to the website. It's a little confusing. I think they should make it a little less confusing. The last thing parents need in their lifetime right now is more, anything confusing, anything hectic. But I think this is a classic buyer's journey thing where, as a parent, and I've been, my daughter's 17 and my youngest is 8, so I've been a parent a long time. So this is not something I necessarily was aware of for kids. Probably was out there, but classic thing where this works all the way through the awareness campaign, and then it gets down to the retention. And so long as they're sending the right clothes, so long as they're re-engaging with their audience on social media, so long as they're maybe sending an email, hey, we have something special coming in the box, that's how you're going to keep the subscription going. At $150, whole box, what's it coming, once a month? That kind of gets a little high for a parent. Maybe the $100 box is good, but it all depends on what they're trying to send. Keep in mind, kids are especially kids right now, they're very, very label focused right now, a little bit more than they were, just because it's coming at them so fast and furious when you start looking at, YouTube personalities in this. So it's a different mentality from when I was growing up, which is the dinosaur ages compared to this. But I think this is a great thing. But this is, for the first time on our podcast, this is definitely a story where it's like we can talk about from the beginning all the way. This is a great product I'd love to market, because this is like right in our wheelhouse of what Comexis does. So, but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. But it's a great product. It's a great idea. This is something I think, as you see the retail apocalypse continue to fall, as we see that's happening, you're going to start seeing the rise of things like this.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you mentioned it, how as a parent, you don't want things to be as confusing, like with the Rockets of Austin website. But something that Richard Johnson, the CEO and chairman of Foot Locker, said was, we're looking forward to collaborating with them on brand development, product collections, and go-to market plans to help realize additional growth for both companies. That was also talking about their partnership, but also how they want to evolve with the parents online to basically adjust to speed, because speed is one of the most important aspects of what you were talking about, where if it's quick and it works for them, then it makes their life easier and it makes the brand's life easier. So it falls right in line with what you said before.
No, their success, not only the marketing, but the success is the return policy. If this is classic, one of those, because I've bought stuff online before, and I don't know how you guys do it. You may probably know this already, but if this is simple as me just slapping a label on a thing and putting it on my front doorstep, and UPS comes back and gets it, that's a home run for a mom and dad. That's something where the easier you make these clothes to return, like you speed-wise, is the complete success story here for everything. So, so interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you mentioned, this thing living on Instagram, I happened to try and find some organic social posts in that regard. I wasn't able to find a lot, mostly because my phone wasn't loading, unfortunately. But I'd be really interested to see, how, if they end up going with almost an influencer marketing campaign with this. I feel like that would be really successful. I mean, I was actually just reading an article on, I want to say it was Forbes, could be wrong on that one though, that was talking about, children influencers, basically, where parents run the social media accounts and stuff like that, and all the different intricacies that go on with that. If I remember where I found that, I will link that in the blog description. It's very interesting. So I think that would work fabulously for something like this. So I'm going to be interested in seeing what they end up and how they end up going about that, if they choose to do that. But I completely agree with you. Saves a lot of time. Very easy to market in the sense of hit the parents on Facebook, hit the parents on Instagram, stuff like that. So, yeah. Well, thank you everybody for tuning into today's episode of The Buyer's Journey. Check us out on Comexis.com and YouTube and anywhere you can find your podcasts. And please follow us on Twitter @buyers_journey. Thanks for listening.